This is Mr. V. We're going to look at lesson 3 today, Autodesk Inventor. Today we're going to learn how to use the trim tool to make some irregular shapes, and we're also going to look at using the mirror line and making patterns as well. So the first thing you want to do, like always, start a new file. Make sure it's standard in.ipt. Click create. Okay, we've got our drawing area. So now hit Start 2D Sketch. Highlight the XY plane. Let's click that. And I'm going to change that from ellipse back to circle. Change that from polygon back to rectangle 2-point. Make sure you do the same as well. Okay, let's make a rectangle first in this quadrant. Let's come down and actually go into the second quadrant. Okay, we've got a rectangle. I'm going to right click OK. Let's add a dimension. Let's make this a 6. Okay, and that goes away. You can't see it. Remember, click front. It brings it back into view for you. The dimension tool is still highlighted, and we want that. Make this 4 inches and hit OK. So now I've got a rectangle. I'm going to add a circle. When that turns green, let me show you on the bottom without that 6. That tells you you're at the midpoint of this line, so we're at 3 inches. Same thing here, I'm at 2 inches. Okay, that's really important. So let's start there, our circle there. I want you to drag it up. Okay, right click OK. Let's add a dimension on this circle. Let's make it 3 inches. Okay, so we've got a 6x4 rectangle and a 3-inch circle overlapping it. Now we're going to make some irregular shapes. So right click, hit OK. That turns off your dimension tool. We want that. If you look up here, you've got some different tools that we haven't used yet. The little scissors here, trim, is a very handy tool. We're going to use that pretty often. When you hover over it, it tells you what you're going to do. And you can see it has a dashed line in red there. That means you're going to trim that part. Okay? So I'm going to hit the trim tool. It's turned blue. I have a pair of scissors, or you can see that turns red. And what I want you to do, watch what I do. It trims that part of the circle away. I'm also going to trim that part of the circle away. Right click OK. So now I have a irregular shape. Okay? It's not a polygon because it has a curved line to it. So we've made a circle and a rectangle, but we've made it all one shape. And these dimensions, don't worry about that. Those are there, but later when you start making shapes 3D, you won't see that. Okay? So that's an irregular shape. I'm going to move down a little bit so we can have a new place to work. So click the pan button, drag up and to the left, and we're going to get into this quadrant and do another drawing. So right click, hit OK. This time let's make a rectangle. And we're going to cut some of the sides away. So let's dimension this. Let's make it 4 by 2. Okay. Before we do that, I'm going to show you the fillet tool. This is what it places an arc on a radius. It basically rounds the corners off. So think about the desk you're sitting at. Those edges aren't very sharp. They have a fillet on it. We'll do that. You can do this in 2D and also in 3D. We'll do it later in 3D. For right now, we're going to do 2D. So I'm going to click fillet. Okay. It tells me it's going to make a radius of 0.125 inches. We have a 2x4. Let's change that to 0.25 inches. Give it a little bit bigger. So just delete the 1 and then click at the end of it. Now, what you got to do, you got to be really careful here. You have to click on this point. Okay. And you can see that little green line pops up. Now that has done it. So do it at the vertex where the two lines meet. And then it's done. So we hit X that out. Okay? So now we've rounded those edges off. Let's change that to 0.5 and see what happens. Okay, you can see it makes it a little bit sharper. You can see it a little bit better, and that's okay. Let's leave it like that at 0.5. And I changed this dimension. It changed all four of them because I made that fillet in one move. Okay, so we've done the fillet tool. I also said I was going to show you the pattern tool. So we're going to get the pan button again. Let's move around some. We haven't done anything in the upper right quadrant, so let's do that here. Okay, right click, hit OK. I'm going to drag this over. So now let's make a circle. Put a dimension of 0.75 inches on it. Hit OK. Another button we haven't used yet is the point, so we're going to choose that. Click point, and that's going to let us put a center point. It's basically going to be a reference point, which is important with the pattern. Okay, come down and to the right a little bit. Just get a good distance there. Click that point, right click, hit OK. Now you see the different types of patterns we have. Okay, we're going to do a circular pattern first. We'll do a rectangle later. So click circular. Move this to where you can see your shape and your point. For right now it says geometry. It's automatically clicked on that, which is a good thing. Click the shape, and then you want to choose the axis. Okay, so click that. It turns like a darker blue. Click on that point, and you can see I have 6 circles rotating 360 degrees. I'm going to change that to 3. You can see that there's only 3 of them now. And watch what if I hit this axis button. It's going to change the direction of this. It flips them the other way. You can't really see a difference there. Okay, the degrees, let's change that to 90. See how they get closer? Okay, let's make it 105. And that looks pretty good for what we want to do. So 5 circles with 105 degrees of rotation. Hit OK. So that's the circular pattern. Let's look at a rectangular pattern. Whoops. Okay, I chose rectangle. I don't want to do that. So right click, OK. I want you to draw another circle. Okay, dimension it to 0.5 inches. Pretty small, which is okay. We're going to make a vertical line. Make it above the circle a little bit. Right click OK to get off of that. And we're also going to make a horizontal line. And you'll see why in just a second. Okay. So let's go ahead and add dimensions here. Make that 2.5 inches. And make this 6.5 inches. Okay. We've done a circular pattern here. Now we're going to do a rectangular pattern. So click rectangular. Okay, very similar. Now we're going to make it go 2 directions. So move it where you can see your shapes. Geometry automatically starts there. That's the default. Click the circle. Then direction 1 is going to be here. Okay, if your arrow's pointing to the left, you just flip that and it makes it go the other way. We want it going to the right. Direction 2 is going to be down. Let's change the amount of circles. Left and right, let's put 5. Up and down, let's put 3. And there's 1 inch between them. Okay, we can change that as well. But for now, let's leave that. Okay, so 5 rectangles going left to right with 1 inches of space between them. 3 rectangles going up and down with 1 inches of space between them. All in all, you should have 15 rectangles. Okay, so we've done a circular pattern and a rectangular pattern. Okay, there's one more thing I want to do with you in this video, and that is the mirror line. Okay, so, and I know we're taking up a lot of space here. That's okay. Click on the pan tool. Let's go above our irregular shape here. Right click, OK. We're going to make an irregular shape here. Just do the best you can here. It's not going to be exact like mine. Okay, so I'm going to start with a rectangle. I like adding dimensions to everything. That makes it much easier for you. Let's make that 3 inches. Let's make this 1.5. Gives you a good reference point. Okay, turn your dimension tool off by right clicking and hitting OK. Let's grab a circle. And let's see. Not a good position, so I'm going to undo that. I don't like where that's at. Let's start it out here on the right a little bit. That looks better. Okay. Let's add a dimension to this circle, even though we're going to trim it. Make it 1.5. Okay, now we're going to use the trim tool. I want this gone. I want this straight line gone and this line gone. Okay. So now I have a rectangle. It looks like someone took a bite out of it, basically. We're going to do a mirror. So click on this mirror button. If you hover above it, it tells you. It makes a copy across an axis. So click mirror. The default is to select. Move that up where you can see your shape. Click all the sides and the curve. Okay, they're red when you hover over them. When you click them, they're blue. I have the whole shape. Now I'm going to hit mirror line, and I want to flip it along this line. Click that. Hit apply, then done, and you can see it basically took that and flipped it across. Okay, you'll learn about that in math class when you do translations and all that fun stuff, reflections and rotations. Okay, so this shape looks good. We've got the mirror line and the flip, an irregular shape, a circular pattern, a rectangular pattern, a rectangle where we did a fillet on the edges. Look at all the dimensions closely. Yours need to be the same on these, especially these three. Dimension this the same. Your circle may not be exactly like that, but that's okay. Just get it as best you can here. That's kind of tricky moving that circle around. So we've learned the 2D patterns, a rectangle and circular. We've learned how to use the fillet tool. We've learned how to trim and the mirror line in this video. The next one is going to be adding constraints, what you see up here. Okay, so until next time, make sure you do this lesson. Save it in your Inventor files and save that as Mr. V Lesson 3.